Ah, shit.
Hello and welcome! I am Randy Bueller. It is Vintage Super League time once again, and I'm joined by Erin Campbell with a t-shirt that perfectly matches her deck for this evening.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
What on earth have you unleashed? This... You don't know either? It's a dredge deck, it's a shops deck. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not really looking forward to playing against it, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I like to think of the VSL as an event that I have to get ready for, and I can't wear the same thing twice. And so I was going over all the possible versions of Dredge that I could play, and I feel like I'd kind of done them before. And a couple of weeks ago, I discovered this list by a young man named Zeus MTG. He had gone 5-0 in a couple of leagues, and I sent him a message, and I was like, hey, I love everything you're doing here. I was like, if you decide to keep doing this, if you decide to keep running this, let me know what you end up with, and I'll consider taking it to the VSL.
Okay.
And then he sent me a message a couple days ago, and he was like, here's my list, here are my results, I think I'm onto something here. And I was like, I love it, let's do it. And so here we are.
Here we are indeed. We've got 4 players for y'all this evening. Erin's one of them. I'm playing. We've also got the first match queued up, which will be Kevin Cron and Andy Probasco. We all had to choose a different deck from what we did the first time, and I think we all kind of knew Erin was going to be on a graveyard strategy. Certainly, I knew that my last sideboard tweak, I had my deck list, I was like, that's what I'm going to run. I woke up in the morning and I'm like, nope, got to put another Tormod's Crypt in the sideboard. I want the 4th Tormod's Crypt, tweaking out a card that would have been good against Shop. So I don't know if I improved my sideboard or made it worse against you, and I've changed a card versus one half of your deck for a card versus the other half.
And that's one of the things that's so appealing about this deck is it attacks from so many different angles. You know, you have the 2 primary angles of Shops and Dredge, but you can board into almost a lands deck. And so, you know, you really are pushing people to the maximum of, okay, you're ready for one thing. Are you ready for 2 more things? And let's see if
how about Dark Depths out of the sideboard? the list is sweet. I'm glad to have this sort of stage for you to show it off on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is really the place. You know, I'm dead for the playoffs. Let's have a little fun.
Yeah, you mentioned being dead for the playoffs. The system, if you haven't heard it, everybody plays 2 nights in the regular season, 3 matches a night, so that's 6 total matches. You need 4 and 2 to make it into the playoffs. And we saw last week, we actually had that they divided the wins up to get fully 3 players from last week into the playoffs. Tonight, as we start out, Erin is 0-3, so she's eliminated, but that's not going to stop you from being a savage and trying to show off this new deck, I know.
If anything, I feel a little bit more unrestricted. You know, it's very nerve-wracking to do this. You know, you have 1,000 people sitting in chat, everybody's watching you. But when you know there's nothing on the line, you really can just try anything. And so the goal is just have fun, maybe inflict a little pain, and give people something to see.
In terms of our other players tonight, Brassman, Andy Probasco, is on 1 and 2, so needs to run the table if he's going to make it through. And he's got a Painter Servant Grindstone deck that's pretty sweet. 4 main deck Pyroblasts, I think, are going to be particularly good against Kevin and I, who are both running variations on Paradoxical Outcome decks. Kevin is 2-1, so he just needs to run back the 2-1 to make the playoffs. I got the 3-0 the first time. I was pretty happy with that. There was only 2 of us who ran the table in the first set of matches, so I only need one win, but it's funny. Over the course of my testing process, I went from, I'm 3-0, I'm safe. I should run like a Belcher deck. And I definitely tested Goblin Charbelcher. And then, like, as we started getting closer and closer, I'm like, I don't want to 0-3 and miss the playoffs. Like, the Charbelcher deck is fun, but it's like, it's a 45% deck. It is just not favored. Like, I can 3-2 a league with it. I'm not going to 5-0 a league with it. I could definitely see 0-3ing a VSL night with it. So it's close, but Lavinia is just a savage beating. Like, you're playing a deck that has literally one land and that has to get started without having a land in play. So Lavinia was definitely a beating, and I liked the fact that there weren't as many. Like, I didn't expect a lot of Shops decks tonight. Your Shops deck is actually above what I was expecting. I'm like, maybe one person. Well, I guess I thought maybe one person. I just didn't expect it to be you.
Yeah,
so I thought tricky. That might. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was just saying, it's tricky. It's like, I've always fantasized about playing a Workshops deck, but I find Shops itself to be so basic. So anytime I can find like some neat ways to play Workshops, like 2-card Monty, I really enjoy.
Right.
I really love it in this sort of combination. You know, if I can play Workshops without playing Shops, I'll probably do it.
Makes sense. Yeah, so I thought the lack of Shops had me tempted by Charbelcher, but Lavinia kind of pushed me back the other way. And I also think this Paradoxical Outcome deck it's just so powerful. And
it's pretty obnoxious.
I also knew Kevin couldn't run a Xerox strategy, and Andy couldn't run a Xerox strategy. I think that's your worst matchup as a Paradoxical Outcome deck, is you don't want to run into, Mental Misstep, Flusterstorm, Pyroblast, Force of Will, Lavinia. That's your nightmare matchup as a PO player. Andy's got the Pyroblast. I'm not in love with that. Kevin's the mirror, but a little tweak for the mirror. So I don't have a great field, but I did feel like the field wasn't going to be savage for Paradoxical Outcome. I didn't think
what you did there.
Yeah, your deck is.
Yeah, Lavinia definitely has created this sort of sniff test for Vintage. I tried a number of decks going into this thing with a friend of mine, and one of the ones we did try was Mono Blue Belcher, and this was right after the first week. So you all had come out of the gate really strong with Lavinia. She was everywhere, and I was so game to try it, and my friend was like, you do realize you just fold to Lavinia. And I was like, there's got to be a way. And then we tried it, and I was like, okay. And we put that one right back in the drawing board.
Yeah,
and
you have Force of Will. That's it. Like 40% of the time, you have the Force of Will for her, I guess. But then they force back half of those times. So it's kind of ugly. But first matchup, unfortunately, we'll not have any Goblin Charbelchers involved. We'll have Brassman and Kevin Crone. Let's get down to the action.
Ooh.